Wait, Zoro, do you want me to teach you all the zero cycles? I'm down to tell you literally every zero. You want to? You're asking before. I said I would do on stream and I forgot. I don't know when I said it. Sure. Okay. Okay. So first, let's do front and then diagonal first. These three towers is the same setup. Forget codes. Okay. Never look at codes. These three towers have the same setup. And then these three towers have the same setup, and then the next four have their own separate. Like there's 4 different setups for each, because we're gonna do side setups because other setups are hard. So starting with the first 3 towers, whether it's cage or okay, it's cage. This is what you do: pull to the top. You go here. You get to this point. Okay. Can you see the obby under the bars? It's the same block. Let's say this is small boy, then the bars won't be there, but it's the same block. You get to this particular block every single time. And then you do 1 block, 2 block, 1 diagonal. For the first 3 towers, this is the setup. You do 1 block out, 2 block out, 1 diagonal out this way. 1, 2, 1 diagonal. For the first 3 towers, you just do this. And then the heights are 90, 95. For the first 6 towers, 90 and 95 are all you care about. You can either go 90 or 95. I'm gonna go 95 here. And then done. Okay, I'm not gonna do the 0. 1 block, 2 blocks, 1 diagonal. That's the setup for the first 3 towers. You can go 90 or 95. For the first 3 towers, that's the setup. Okay. For the next 3 towers, it is this. You go to the same block again, but for the next set of 3 towers, you go 1 block, 1 diagonal. Because for the first 3, you went 2 blocks, 1 diagonal. For this, you go 1 block, 1 diagonal from this block. Okay. And then you can go 90 or 95. I'm going 95. You can go 90 or wait, no, this is minimum 95. Sorry. For the next set of 3 towers, you go generally you go 95. For the 85 tower, you can go 90. I'll show that on. Okay, basically all you have to remember is 1 block, 1 diagonal, and then I'll show you the specifics. First 3 towers. 2 blocks out, 1 diagonal out. You'll get to the setup. You can go 90 or 95. For the second 3, you go 1 block, 1 diagonal, and then you go 90 or 95. But since this 88 tower and 91 tower are so close to 95, if you explode a bed at 90, the crystal breaks. So for this, you don't go 90. You go minimum 95. But for 85, you can go 90. In terms of setup, these 3 are 1 setup. You go 2 blocks out, 1 diagonal. And then these 3 are 1 setup. You go 1 block out, 1 diagonal. But in terms of height, the first 4 towers can be Y90. Okay? But from 88, from the 5th tower, you can't go 90 anymore. You have to go minimum 95 because 90 will just break. So these 3 towers, it's 1 block, 1 diagonal out. And then generally 95. For 85 towers specifically, 90 is fine. Okay. And then for 94, have you done a 94-0 before? I'm too late here, but actually the setup is okay. You know how the first 3 towers we went 1 block. Wait, the first 0 for the first 3 towers we went 1 block, 2 blocks, 1 diagonal. For the second we went 1 block, 1 diagonal. And then for 94, after 91 tower, for 94 you go just 1 diagonal instead of 1 out. You go directly just 1 diagonal. All of these are only for front towers, by the way. Only for this tower. For that tower, I'll tell from beginning again. So for 94, you do 1 diagonal and then 1. You go till 99 because if you do 95, crystal will break. You go 99 and then your normal setup. right? You go directly one diagonal and then you go 99. You can go 99 on any other tower as well, by the way, if you're fast enough. But 90, 95 is generally what people go for. They're easy and they're consistent as well. For this 94 tower specifically, you go one diagonal and then Y99. And then this is the setup. But the setup is actually easy. But if it feels hard for you, then I have a much easier setup which you can go every single time. For back tower, it's almost the same setup, but it's like back tower, it's even harder. If for you, for the 94 tower, if Y99 is hard, then back for the same tower, same setup is gonna be so much harder. Do this if Y99 you can't reach in time, do this. This is easy, you will definitely reach this. And the setup goes like this. Okay, first. This is the 94 tower. You go to this block again, except you place one block. From here the setup starts. You go one out from the, you have to place a block because, okay, you see how this is 94 tower and we're at Y95. I'm showing you Y95 side setup, and till now we went to designated codes and then bridged up until we hit Y90 or Y95. Here we place a block here directly because we're going 95 anyway. We are not going further up. So might as well place block here and then start our whatever our setup is. And the setup is this. You go here. You place a block. You go to Y95 first immediately on the 94 tower. You go one block out. And then you do one diagonal, two diagonal, and this is your setup codes. You first place a block there, you get to Y95, and then you go one block out and then two diagonal, one block, two diagonal, and you get to your 0 codes, and then this is just the setup. I'm too late because I was like showing, but this has so much time. This is basically like 88. This is basically 88 tower doing Y95. It's that like. It needs that speed, so it's quite easy. But the 0 is slightly weird, but it is still very, very doable. It is still very, very easy. With a bow, it is extremely easy. Without a bow, it might be slightly annoying, but it's actually very easy. If you can't get it, if you can't get the beds off, the timing is slightly off. If you can't get it properly, then it means like it's easy. You just have something you haven't figured out something. But it's in general, it's very easy. Do this setup on Y94. This is the setup I go for when it's buried. You have enough time to get there while it's like 57 buried. And the dragon generally doesn't fly, and explosion, in terms of explosions, it is good. Do that for Y94 and for these three. Okay. In these three, 97-0 is the hardest, okay? 97-0 is the hardest because if you do 97 top setup, it is hard to get to. It's not too hard, but it is like, if you are saying 94 top setup is hard, 97 top setup is hard as well. You can do top setup. If not, you can do side setup. Top setup is hard, but not too hard. You can do it if you get to a certain level. I can do it like every time consistently. So it's not that hard. But side setup, the bed explosion does no damage. It does too little damage that the side setup makes it so much harder. But I'll tell you both top setup and side setup for like 97. First top setup, you go back up again. After you get here, you place a block. You place a block here, jump on it, double stack. Okay? You get to this point and then you do one diagonal, two diagonal, and this is your setup block. You place a block, double stack, one diagonal, two diagonal, and you got to your setup, and then you just do the setup. You got to your codes. And then that's it. That's top 97 setup. It is slightly hard, but not too hard. If it is hard for you, then you have to do side, which is like, it's much harder, honestly, in terms of bed explosions, but we'll see. This is side 97 setup. This is called universal setup as well. You go here, okay? You go to this particular area, this line, and then you get to Y90. I'm at Y90 right now, and this is what you do. One diagonal, two diagonal, one right. And you get one diagonal, two diagonal, one right. And then you do this. It's slightly different. Usually you place the anchor here, but you shouldn't this time. It's slightly weird. The way you set up is slightly weird, but if you go back on stream, you will be able to figure it out like how I placed it. But this is the setup for Y97 side. Okay, all the zeros I told you till now, these zeros are about getting to the setup on time. If you're slow at getting to the setup on time is easy to all the easy setups that I've mentioned. But this one is easy too, but like by easy I mean it has more time to get to your setup. But the bed explosion does no damage and it's so hard to do like the zero cycle. The not getting to the setup part of the zero cycle, but actually exploding the beds and killing the dragon part. That part is really hard for 97. So 97 is the hardest zero out of all of these. And then T100 and T103 till now, there was a top setup for everything, right? There was a top setup for the first three. No matter what, you can reach them. For the second three, no matter what, you can still reach them. You have so much time. For 94, for T94, top setup is possible, but it's slightly hard. For T97, top setup is possible, but slightly hard. And then for these two, top setup is like too hard. So we don't do top setup for these two. I never do top setup for these two. For T94 and T97, I gave you two side setups. For 94, side setup is very nice, very easy. For 97, side setup is very, very hard. For 91, it's actually very easy. 91, there's no point talking about it. And then now let's do T100. T100, we never do top setup for T100. I never do top setup for T100. But I still pull on all the way to the top. And then I realize this is T100 and I can't do top setup. So this is what I do. I go here and then I do this. Oh, that doesn't count. 1 second. I pull up as usual. I don't know what tower it is. I bridge up and then I notice it's T100 and then this is what I do. I go to the same spot as 97 setup before. You go to the same stop. You go to the same spot and then you go Y90. Same, but it's not the same setup as T97 that I just showed you. You do this instead. You do one staircase up, diagonal staircase up, and then you do 1, 2, and after you do, okay, one staircase up and then one diagonal, two diagonal. After you do two diagonal, you do 1, 2, 3, and then you place an anchor on top. And then you are at your setup. This is a different zero than what you would do otherwise. Till now, the first 3 towers and the next 3 towers, till 94 tower, we haven't done side setups, and the zero, the way you explode the beds or the timing for the bed explosion is quite normal. Okay, all of them are like similar or the same even. But for towers, last 2 towers, for towers 100 and towers 103, you do side setup, and when you do side setup, the explosion timing is different. Which you will have, it's basically a new zero that you're learning in terms of when to explode the beds. What I like doing with this, the bed cycling thing you have to practice, and what I like doing is break this block and then this block and then place obby whenever I can. If you can't place obby, just break this block and then place a block here and then walk forward. If you do that, you can place a bed here and here comfortably. Otherwise, you won't be able to place your beds. That's T100, and then you need to, the bed explosion timing is different, which you'll have to learn from scratch again. In general, the bed explosions are later than usual compared to other towers. And then finally, T103. T103 is very, very easy. Whether it's buried or not buried, you should always go for side setup T103. Even if it's back. Back and front have the same setup. T103, you pearl twice, because for every other tower, okay, you see how there's 2 blocks gap between, like on the sides, there's 2 blocks gap here, 2 blocks gap here. This only happens when it's the tallest tower of all of them. When it's T103, it happens. If it's T100 or below, this doesn't happen. Which is why you don't pearl to the top directly when you're doing T103. You pearl here, you look at the tower, you notice it's T103, and then you pearl here, or short pearl here. After you do your short pearl here, then you pearl there. And then for T103, for the higher, like the tallest tower in the game, you don't do 90 or 95, you do 94. You get to the same middle section, and then you go to T94, and then you do this. One diagonal, 2 blocks up. It's actually annoying trying to explain while the dragon is like fucking... Maybe I should kill the dragon and then show, I don't know. Then I won't get the towers though. You go T94, 1 diagonal, 2 blocks up, 1 diagonal, 2 blocks up, anchor on top. And then this is the setup. And then you can place these 2 blocks and walk forward, so you can place beds on both sides. And then you just... This 0 and the T100 0 have the same bed explosion timing. Everything, these 2 have 1 bed explosion timing. Everything else has 1 explosion timing. And the 97 is just fucking so weird. These are all the towers, all the front towers that you will reach 100% of the time if it's open. If the spawn is open, every setup I explained right till now, you will be able to reach. If it's open, 100%, no matter how slow you are, you will reach. Should I do a recap for all front dragons again? Or I can disable dragon? Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Do you want a recap for all the front towers? Or should I go back towers now? It's like, also it's like hard to like obviously follow it all. You'll have to like rewatch it a couple times probably. But I'm literally giving you everything you need to be able to zero every single time. At least when it's open. Even when it's buried, you can do it. These are the setups I do while it's buried. But when it's open to your skill level, you 100% can reach all the setup. Recap, yes, okay. So recap. First 3 towers have the exact same setup. You go here and then you go here for front only. For back it's slightly different. You go to this block, whether it's small boy or a cage tower, you go here for the first 3 towers. You go to this particular block and then you do 1 block, 2 block, 1 diagonal. 1 block, 2 block, 1 diagonal, and then you got to your coordinates. And then you can either do 90 or 95. Done. Okay. And then for the next 3 blocks, next 3 towers, you do all of these setups that I told till now are very reachable. They have you have so much time reaching them, and then no, it's just good. Okay. Okay. For the next 3 towers, you get to the same block, and then you do 1 block, 1 diagonal. Instead of first 3 towers, we did 2 blocks, 1 diagonal. Next 3 towers, we do 1 block, 1 diagonal, and then we go 95. We shouldn't go 90. Because if you go 90, the crystal will break. Only exception is that on the 85 tower, you can do Y90. That is the only exception. But this is the setup. You do 1 block, 1 diagonal, Y90 or 95, 90 for 80, 90 for 85 tower, 95 for other 2 towers. Done. And then 94 tower. For 94 tower, you go to the top again. And then There's two setups for Y94. One of the setups is this. You do one diagonal directly for the top setup. I'm saying top setup first, which is hard, which is slightly hard, which is harder than everything else we've done so far. Or in the recap, everything I've recapped so far, this is the hardest. For the first 3 towers, we went 1 block, 2 block, 1 diagonal. For the next 3 towers, we went 1 block, 1 diagonal. For this tower, we go directly 1 diagonal, and then we can't do 95 because the tower is too tall and the crystal will break. So we have to go 99 is must. So we have to do 1 diagonal and then 99, and then you're at your codes. But the time is like you don't have too much time, so I have to be slightly fast. And then if you can do this, it's actually not too hard. You probably can do this. If you can do this, cool. If you can't, I'm telling you the side setup. And if you can't do this top setup for Y94 front, back is going to be so much harder. So you have to just do the side setup I told you. And then the side setup is this. For Y94, you pull here, you're here, right? And then you place a block here and jump first. For till now, other towers, we went to the X and Z coordinates first, and then we bridged up to 90 or 95. But for this tower, we go directly to 95 first because we are not going further up. So might as well do it first, and we are not wasting time because it's just faster. So first you place a block here at this exact spot, and then you do 1 block out. Oh. And then you place a block here, and then you do 1 block out, and then you do 1 diagonal, 2 diagonal, you're at your setup. After you get to your setup, you just staircase to the remaining setup and you're done. This is very, very doable. This is the 0 I go for when it's like 58 buried or 57 buried. This is what I go for, and you have enough time even when it's buried. So when it's open, you should definitely be able to reach this. For 94. For back, everything I told till now, back is similar but not exactly same. You should learn back separately. For Y, okay, so till now you can do, okay, all of these zeros that I've mentioned so far, you should be able to do very easily if it's open spawn. Very easily, you should be able to get to your setup, and exploding the bed should be very easy as well. Every single time, you should have like 99% success rate. These 3 are weird. 97 is the hardest of them all. I'll tell 97 at last actually, okay? Till now you can do all of these zeros very easily. You should be after practice. Let's start with T103 because 103 is the easiest compared to these two. You pearl first as usual. Once you pearl, this is the T103 is the only tower that can have, you know, there's like 2 blocks here and 2 blocks here. Every other tower doesn't have it. There's only like 1 block gap. When it has 2 block gap, that means it's the tallest tower. This is the only tower that can generate that way. So since we know what tower it is, you don't pearl to the top of this tower, you pearl there. After you pearl there, you pearl here. And then you go to the same corner that we told like before on the side setup stuff. You go to 94, not 90, not 95. You go to 94 for this. And then you do 1 diagonal, 2 blocks up, 1 diagonal, 2 blocks up, anchor on top. And then this is the setup you do. This 0 is not one of the top setup zeros, so the bed timing is slightly going to be weird. If you learn how to use a bow while zeroing, this bed timing is so easy. If you're doing normal beds, then it's slightly annoying but still very doable. And then okay, you can just hug the back wall here to be able to place both beds, okay? But generally, try to be comfortable with placing a block here, and then walking forward to this corner. Because this is good because you want to bow them later. So till now, you should be able to do all of these zeros comfortably. These zeros are very easy. Definitely 100% you can do. Tallboy 103 is easy but weird in the sense it's not this. You can get to the setup easily for sure, but exploding the beds is slightly hard because exploding the beds is not the same as the remaining ones. This is slightly different. Okay, these three have the same. If we're doing site setup, these three have the same way to explode beds, and then these all the rest of them have the same way to explode beds. But if you learn it, you should be able to do all of these easy. Next, let's do T100 because T100 is easier than 97. For T100, you go here. You don't know if this is 100 tower or 97 tower, so you just pull up. You get to the top. Once you get to the top, you're like, oh, this is T100. So this is T100 top setup is hard, so we go down to Y90. You go to the exact same corner, like in between both the corners, and then you do Y90, and then this is the setup. You do one staircase up, diagonal staircase up, and then you do one diagonal, two diagonal, and then 1, 2, 3 up, and then anchor on top. Not 2 blocks up, you do 3 blocks up, and then anchor on top, and then you do this. After I do it, whenever I have time, which is a lot of times, this is the block you zero on, or like this is the block you stand while exploring the beds. You have to do 1 block down. Okay, and then if you have extra time, then break this and put obby here, because if you don't have obby here, whenever you explode this particular angle, there is a chance the block under you breaks. I died like that on a sub 10 pace or like a sub 11 pace once, sub 10:30. So if you have extra time, put a crying obby here, but you generally don't have extra time. So let this be whatever block, and then you have to place a block here and then walk forward and hug this exact corner. Now you can place beds in both places, which is important and good. So whenever you have time, which is a lot of the times, you're like this, you break 1 block, you place a block here, you walk forward and then start exploding. And then T100 and 103 have the exact same way to explode beds to kill the dragon. So all of these have one way, which is easy, and then all of these two have a different way, which you have to learn basically a separate 0 cycle. And then this one is just annoying and weird and bad and hard. For T97, top setup, it's good. If you're fast enough, top setup is easy. Okay. Okay, there's 2 ways for T97. You get to the top usual, you realize it's 97. You have 2 ways. If you're fast, then this top setup, or like this is side and top combined or something, hybrid or something. This setup, it has less time, but exploding the beds is very easy, or like easier than other way. You have less time to reach, but if you can reach, this is very good. And exploding the beds is nice. If you don't have enough time to reach this, then you do lower side setup, which is you get to the same corner and you do Y90. You get to here. This one has more time to get to the coordinates, but exploding the beds is difficult. So this is the trade-off you're willing to do based on your skill level. Prefer, if it's open end spawn, prefer top setup. If you can't do top setup at all, then just do this. But the bed explosion is very hard on this because the beds do very little damage. If you have a bow, it's easier, but without a bow, it's even harder. So you go here, you do Y90. This is also called universal side setup, by the way. This setup can be used for Y94 as well. And you can use it for T103 and 100 as well, but you don't use them in those cases because you have a better setup than this one. So for Y97, you do universal side setup, which I'm about to show. And for T94, if you can't do the 95 side setup, this is the setup you can do. But try not to do this because it's so fucking bad. First, you go here, you get to this spot, you go Y90, and then you do 1 diagonal, 2 diagonal. And then this is the block you start exploding the beds on. You go here, you do 1 diagonal, 2 diagonal. And then a good way to set up is a staircase after. Okay? A staircase after like this. And then another staircase. And then you're at your setup block. Like you explode beds from there, you place your anchors here where I'm standing. So 1 diagonal, 2 diagonal, 1 staircase, and then one diagonal staircase. Okay. One diagonal, two diagonal, one diagonal staircase, and then one left staircase. And then you place a block here, place 2 blocks. And then this is something that is different from every other zero cycle setup in the game. Okay, this is one setup that is completely different. You don't place anchors. Usually what you would do, you would place these blocks and then you would place anchors like this, right? And then explode beds like this. On this setup, you don't do it that way. On this setup, once you get here, you place anchors like that or crying obby, but generally anchors like that. And then you stand on this block and then you do this. And then generally, okay, you can place crying obby here and do the same thing like we were doing before. But generally people, like the pros are saying you shouldn't put crying obby here. You should just place, every time you explode, you should place a nether brick or something here and then explode. Nether brick will break and then place nether brick again, explode again. But I feel like even for me it's hard, so I generally don't do it. Placing crying obby here is fine, I think. And then that's the 97 setup. 97 side setup is the hardest setups of them all. But if you can do top 97 setup, then it's pretty good. Cool. So far for front diagonal, you should be able to do all of these zeros. Except 97 if you're like bad, which is okay. All of these setups, the setups highlighted right now, you should be able to reach them 100%. Exploding the beds for the first 6 or for the first 7, you should be able to explode the beds easy as well. For these two, it's not harder, it's slightly weirder. So you have to learn a different way to do them. And then when you learn, then these two are easy as well. So you should be able to do all the zeros when it's open spawn. In terms of getting to the setup very easily, in terms of exploding the beds very easily. This one T97 tower, if you're doing top setup, it is easy. If you're consistent, whenever it's open, if you're consistent in getting to the T97 top setup that I showed, then this zero is very easy as well. Every zero you should be able to do. But if you're not fast enough getting to the T97 tower, then you should do side setup, which is slightly weird. And congratulations, you can do every front diagonal zero. GG. Okay, should I continue? I didn't read chat at all. Should I continue? Should I go to back zeros now, or like 1 in 8, 1 in 8? I guess I'll do it last. Okay, also, never be intimidated by 1 in 8 / straight zero cycles, because they're actually very, very easy. They only look intimidating, but very easy. They're so much easier than this, actually. All front towers are done. Should I just go back now? Should I just go back? Me is you. Yeah, back now. Okay, done. Let's do back now. Back diagonal. Let me read chat a little though. Did you get PP? Who is the you we talking about? You? You in general, bro. Okay, I got it. I should see XYZ. Never see coordinates. By the way, should I see target block or XYZ block? No. Don't watch it. Don't look at either. Don't look at either. Don't look at either. You just do this. You do target. Okay. Never look at block coordinates because you don't have to. Just remember the block placement. That's how I remember. Remembering codes is just annoying and bad. Just remember the exact blocks I'm placing in terms of one block, one diagonal, 2 blocks, 1 diagonal, 1 block, 2 diagonal, 1 block, something like that. Remember in terms of that rather than coordinates, because coordinates get annoying. You look at target block only when it's like, when you have soul sand, okay. Only situation where you look at target block is this. Block coordinates, you never have to look at block coordinates. Target block, there is a specific scenario you look at target block. It is now. It is when you are on soul sand, you see how it says 94 or like 84. It says 84 on block, 84.8 on XYZ. But actually it is 85. But since you're on soul sand, it's at 84 and it will fuck up your everything. But if you look at target block, target blocks is 84. So only when you're doing soul sand for zeros, you look at target block and then you do one block, you add one to the target block value. So if it says 84, it means it's 85. You keep that in mind and then look at target block while doing zeros with soul sand. And for the Y80, okay, for the block and then for the block and XYZ it says 84 and 84.8, right? Sometimes it says 85 and 85.8, which is why this isn't look worthy. You shouldn't look at, you look at even though target and block say the exact same thing right now, there are specific cases they both differ, and looking at target block is generally better, is every time better, because block is misleading. Cool. And then now let's do back zeros. I feel like that one teacher who just goes, who comes in, opens his book, bang, 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 writes the whole blackboard, clears it all up, and then writes it all again, bang, 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 clears it all, writes it all again, bang, 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 and then done. Students, better do your homework. Bye. That's the teacher I feel like. Am I explaining well or nah? I think I am. Okay, this is okay. Now it's time for back zeros. Back zeros. Okay, let me. There's two aspects to back zeros. Front zeros are easy. Back zeros are easy as well. Actually, there is two specific things on back zeros. So one is you do one pearl. How many pearls in total? You do 1, 2, 3. You do 3 pearls to get to the tower, right? In back zeros. And then you do only 2 pearls, or like you do 2 pearls getting to the front towers. That's one thing. Okay? And when you're doing 3 pearls in an actual run, when you're doing 3 pearls, you sometimes don't have enough health. So health is one of the issues when you're doing 3 pearls, but you shouldn't worry. Even I don't worry about it because I don't think I'm at that level yet. So I think 3 pearls is correct. Actually, no, I shouldn't even mention this because no, don't bother about it at all. No, 3 pearls is completely fine. You'll always have health actually. No. This, okay. I take everything I said back. I'm wrong. You have 3 pearls, you will always have enough health to 0 cycle. It's completely fine. The issue I was thinking about is when it's buried, you actually do 4. When you do 4 pearls, that's just all your health is gone. You can't zero. You need to eat food. Whenever it's buried, back zeros are hard because when it's buried, you do 1 pearl to get to the top. Your 1 pearl to get to the top, pearl clipping, and then 2nd pearl here, 3rd pearl for front zero, and then 4th pearl for back zero. But it's okay. You don't have to worry about it now since we are only doing open 0 cycles. For back, you do 1 pearl, 2 pearls, and then 3rd pearl to get here. Also, it would have been smart to turn this on before. Okay, for these are the first. Okay, and I wanted to do something else which I forgot. Okay, now for back. Front, you should be able to do every 0 except maybe 97 because it's slightly hard. But if you're doing top setup, it's very easy. Now, after that is cleared out, after you can do all the front towers, this is how back towers work. Back towers. First 3 towers have the same setup, but they're not the same setup as front ones, okay? Front and back are slightly different in every way. But now we're only talking about back from here, okay? Back towers. First 3 towers, they have the same setup. Next 3 towers don't have the same setup. So I have to say one by one. Okay. Let's do first 3 towers first. First 3 towers, you should be able to do every time. They're quite easy. Actually, no. No, actually, yes. Do I keep combining back setups with like buried setups, which is why I'm like scared. No, you should be able to do the first 3 on back as well. It's very easy. You do the pearl here and then jump throw pearl again. And then you pearl there. You go here. Now, there is one thing you need to notice is you see how, okay, I shouldn't say this now because you might get extra confused. Okay. For back towers, you pull to the top, you get here. When you blockless, you're like one block to the side, right? From the obby. So still it might be better to count from the obby and then count this as one block out. Even though you block clutch right here, just count it as starting from obby, one block out, two blocks. So count it like that, so you don't get confused. So first you get to the chords. For the first 3 towers, this is the setup. It's just 2 blocks out and done. That's all. You pearl clutch against the tower, and then you do what? You get, okay, you pearl clutch against the tower, you go to the top. After you get to the top, you will realize, oh wait, this is one of the first 3 towers. After that, you get to your setup. It is 2 blocks out from the obby. Even though you're here, you're up, and then you're placing only 1 block and you're at your setup. Count it as 2 because it's from the obby. So it's like you don't get confused from there. For the front towers, we did a diagonal, right? We did 2 blocks, 1 diagonal, or we did 1 block, 1 diagonal, right? For the back towers, you don't do diagonal at all. You only do 2 blocks out or 1 block out later. Okay. Anyway, for the first 3 towers, you do 2 blocks out from the obby. You clutch here, get here, 1 block out, you're at your course, and then you do Y90. For back, for the first 3 towers, do Y90. Don't go 95 because 95 can be tricky or like less time to reach. Just do Y90 for the first 3 towers. It's just 2 blocks out, Y90, you're at your setup, do your normal thing. Done. You should be able, when it's open, you should be able to reach every time. Only exception is the small boy tower. The shortest tower is slightly hard. It's not hard, it slightly could be hard. You should see and tell me yourself. First 3 towers, easy. You should be able to do them. Just 2 blocks out, no diagonal, nothing. For the back towers, 2 blocks out and you go Y90, done. You don't go 95. Next, for 85 and 88 towers, 91 is slightly weird. I'll go 1 tower at a time, okay? Actually, I'll go these 2 towers. These 2 towers can be grouped. 85 and 88 towers. For back, you do the same pulse. Now, you get here, you realize it's one of the 2 towers in the second group. First group is the first 3 towers. Second group is the next 2 towers, 85 and 88. We got 88 this time. For the first 3 towers, we blockless here, and then from this obsidian block, we did 1 block, 2 blocks setup, right? For the next, you only do 1 block out and setup. So basically, you don't, after you block clutch, you don't do anything. It's just this, you're at your coordinates already, X and Z coordinates. So you just do 95. For 88, you have to do 95 because if you do 90, the crystal will break. You're at your setup, you do it normally. And then for 85, it's the same thing in terms of X and Z coordinates. But for Y level, you can do 95 and 90 because 90 doesn't break. You can do it at 90 as well when it's 85 tower. The crystal will not break. That's the only exception. So these 2 towers, you should be able to do them very easily. You have so much time to get to your coordinates. And then for 91. 91 is slightly weird and hard. Okay, it's actually not hard. For 91, there is 2 setups. Actually, I shouldn't even tell you the setup because you will get like scared. Okay, just do this as 91. 91 is actually very easy as well. Okay, so far, these 3 towers are one group. They're very easy to get to. Maybe small boy is slightly hard, but you just see and tell me. And then these two are very easy to get to, and in terms of exploding the bed, so all these 5 should be very, very easy if it's open spawn and back zeros. And then 91, I'm giving you a different setup, which is slightly like, it's kind of a side setup. It's kind of a side setup, but it's very easy to get to, and the bed explosion is very easy as well. But I'm not gonna go over the top setup at all because you have to go Y99 and it's hard. So for for M91 tower, this is how you do it. Same two pearls. Pearl again. You get here. You know it's 91. For 91, this is the setup, okay? You boat clutch here or like block clutch here, and then you do all of these setups. I'm telling from the obby, right? So you don't get confused. For front towers, there is one way. For the back towers, for the first 3 towers, it is two blocks, no diagonal, and setup. For the next 2 towers, 85 and 88, it is just 1 block, and then you are there. And for 91, you do this. You do 1 block, 1 diagonal. Till now, for back zeros, we didn't do diagonal. We only did straight, right? Without diagonals. But we are doing diagonal here because we don't want the crystal to break. And we don't want to go Y99. So from the obby, you do 1 block, 1 diagonal, and then you're at your setup. You can do 95. And the crystal will not break. And the crystal will not break if you do 95. And it's very easy to get to. You have so much time. You do 1 block, 1 diagonal, you're at your course, and then you do 95. If you do 95 like normally, the crystal will break. Now, after you know the concept, try to get your setup like this. You do staircase 1, staircase 2, staircase 3. Because you instead of flat bridging and then going up like this, try to staircase up. This is what goes in through my head. I do in my head, if I'm doing this setup, I do this. I get here, I'm like 1 block out, 1 diagonal, and then 95. We're there. Cool. So far you should be able to do all of these zeros very, very comfortably. Okay. And then for Y94, this is the setup. Okay, you get here. For Y94, top setup is very hard. Top setup is this. You do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you do this. This is the top setup, but this is very difficult. Don't try to do it at all, probably. So just do the side setup I'm about to tell you. Side setup is this. You block clutch here, you go up till 95. This is how I like to do it. You go till 95. You see how for the front and back, for the 94 tower, it's exactly the same setup. But for the front, you did like, you went 1 block out and then you do 1 diagonal, 2 diagonal. And then you're at your setup, you do your staircase here and you're done. But for back, you see how you're starting at this block because you're not on the obby. For front, you're starting here, placing a block here and then doing your setup, right? So you do 1 block out, diagonal, diagonal, you're there. But for back, you're not starting here, you're starting here. And when you're starting here, you can do 95. Since you're already at this block, you do only 1 diagonal, 2 diagonal, you're there. You don't do 1 extra block. So this is the setup for 94 side setup, T94 side setup. You block clutch here, you bridge up, up, up till 95. Once you hit 95, you do 1 diagonal, 2 diagonal, you're there. And then 1 staircase, 2 staircase. And then you just place your anchors like this. And it won't break. The zero is slightly weird, but it's exact same as front T94 zero. With bow and arrow, it's very easy. Without bow and arrow, it's slightly difficult, but still very easy. With that, if you practice, you should be able to do all of these zeros very, very, very easily. all of these zeros should be very, very easy for both front and back. Front, you can do everything except 97. 97 also you can do, but I'm like, this is the hardest one, so I'm like, maybe you, if you don't do, it's fine. For front, you can do everything. For back, you should be able to do all of these zeros very, very comfortably. After that, you're actually done, because for 103, it's the exact same setup as front diagonal. You pearl once, you pearl twice. The exact same you do at front, you do the same at back. You go pearl there. You get to this spot, you go to 94 and then do one diagonal, 2 blocks up, another diagonal, 2 blocks up, anchor on top. Done. And then same exact setup as front. For 103 is the same exact setup as front again. And you have enough time every time as well. One thing for front T1, for back T100 is when you pearl, this is the way I generally do is this. I pearl on top and then I realize it's 100 and then I drop down. It's the same as front, but it's like slightly less time on back, even though it's the same setup. It's slightly, you have less time because you're pearling extra. You know what I mean? Like it's further away, the whole tower. So you go to 90 and then the same exact setup as front. You do one diagonal staircase and then one diagonal, 2 diagonal, 1, 2, 3, anchor on top. Done. And then for 97 it's the exact same setup as well. Only extra setup I'm gonna tell is this. For 97 side setup, which is like the hardest setup in terms of exploding beds, because it's the furthest away from the node. You go to the same exact block, you go to 190, and it's the same setup as front. One diagonal, 2 diagonal, diagonal staircase, left staircase, and then you place anchor slightly different. And then you do this, and then you try not to place this crying hobby and just place anchor or like nether brick and then explode constantly. But I don't like doing it, so anchor is fine. And then you're done. Hardest 0 so far in terms of exploding bits. So you should be able to do every 0, except there is one setup I didn't tell is this. For T97 back, there is a way to do top setup. If you can do it, very nice. T97 should be easy as well. If you can't do it, just do side setup, which is hard. After I realize it's 97, you just do one diagonal here. That's all. You just do 190, one diagonal here, and then go to Y100, and then do this. Done. This is the setup for top T97. Slightly side, I guess, but it's called hybrid or something. But this setup, if you can do, very nice. In terms of explosions, it'll be easy. But if you can't do, just do 90 side setup for T97. And then you should be able to do every 0. Should I do? Oh my god, actually, my throat hurts, my lungs hurt, and I'm so fucking tired. But straight zeros are left, so I have to do straight as well. Just do universal side for back T94. That is just bad. Universal side setup for back T94 is just bad. Don't do that. Do T94, the 95 side setup that I told you. It's so much better. And then for okay, now let's go 1 in 8s. 1 in 8s are very, 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 very easy. If you know speed bridging, of course. Okay, for 1 in 8s or straight 0 cycles, tower doesn't matter. Any tower is fine. This is what you do. For front, you pearl once. After you pearl once, you can either pearl a second time there, or you can run there. Both are totally fine. After you get here, you pearl to the middle block. This tower is really short, right? So you have to like bridge up a whole bunch, but it's okay. You pearl to you have to be at the middle of this whole tower, and then you do this. You have so much time. It looks like you don't have enough time. You have so much time to get to the setup. You can literally stand here and just bridge straight up all the way to Y88 and you'll still have enough time. But anyway, this is the setup. You have to pearl here, pearl a second time if you want to, or run, and then second or third pearl there, and stand in the middle, and then staircase bridge or normal speed bridge until you get to this block. The codes for 1 in 8s are, for front it's 23 and 0, x23, z0, but just for z coordinate don't remember it, just remember for front you have to stand at the exact middle. Exact middle is always 0. And then you staircase bridge like this or normal bridge like this until you get to 23. 23 is this, right? After you get to 23, the heights for 1 in 8 zeros are this: 88. How do I press 8? I can't press 8, never mind. You get to 88 or 92 or 93. But for you, forget about 92, 93 or anything after that, just do 88. So this is the only setup you're gonna do. You have so much time if you can speed bridge. Even if you speed bridge very slowly, you have enough time. Pearl to the middle, staircase or flat bridge until you get to 23 and then get Y88. So the codes are this. 23, 0, Y88. 23x. Z coordinate 0, don't bother about it. It's just in the middle. And then Y88 for the 0. Once you get here, you do 1 staircase, 2 staircase. You're done. You're at your codes. And then for back zeros, for any tower, if it's front 0, that's all you do. You just do 98, 23 and 0, you're done. Any 1 in 8 0, you can do if it's front. For back, it's very similar but slightly different. For back, you pearl twice, you go here. For front, you went to the exact middle. For back, you go to the left one. That's all. For front, you did middle. For back, you do left. Because you see how the z coordinate, right now I'm at 0, but the middle is 1, -1, you need 0. So for back, you do left here. And then you get to 88. I'm at 88, and then flat bridge or staircase, which are depending on the situation you are in. But the other changes, you go to -24 instead of, this is Y24. You go to -24 instead of 23. So this is all the differences in terms of coordinates and setup. For front straight /1 in 8 zeros, you have to do 23 and 0 at Y88, which is the middle of the tower. And for back zeros, back 1 in 8 or straight zeros, you pearl to the left of the tower, and then you do Y88, and then you do -24 instead of 23. That's all the differences. And then in terms of exporting bets, it's the exact same. It's very easy as well. So now you should be able to do every 0 in the game except back and front T97 maybe. If you can't get to top 97 setups. You should be, if it's open, you should be able to do every 0 easily. You just need practice. You don't need insane skill. If you have practice, you can do it. Everything is done. Oh my fucking god. Did that take an hour? Did that take a fucking hour, man? My throat, bro. I need water. I spoke for an hour straight without drinking water. Are you guys proud of me or not? That's how much I care. Got it, Captain? Post an hour-long video. Yes, a video. Yes, please. No gaps. Yeah. Okay, I might. After figuring out which tower the dragon is going, you can just do that 0. And then done. We are fucking done. Let's fucking go. Bang. How long did this take? 1 hour, 10 minutes. I might post an hour, 10 minutes video. And with this information, any mediocre level player should be able to do every single 0 cycle in the game, except maybe T97. Quite easily with just practice. Some things some things, even after fuck ton of practice, it's like still hard, you know? You still won't be able to do. But this, with practice, you should be able to do very, very, very easily, very consistently. In terms of speed, you should be able to get to your setups very, very consistently. In terms of exploding the bets, you should be able to kill them quite easily. And that's it. We're done. These should be easy. Because I modified the setups to skill level rather than heights and shit. Like the setups I told you are all similar time to get to setups, similar way to explode bets. Though that I explained it that way rather than more technical details. There's so much more to zero cycling in like setups. But as a mediocre player, just knowing these setups, you should be able to do every single zero when it's open. Actually, even when it's buried, you can do, but when it's open, you will definitely be able to do. When it's buried, it's slightly harder. And we are done. Save and quit to title. Bye.